Hallelujah. Giving, hallelujah. Giving the highest praise. Hallelujah. Giving the highest praise. Hallelujah. Giving the highest praise. In the morning when I wake up, in the night when I wake up, I will lift up my voice to heaven and give you the highest praise. Hallelujah to my King. Hallelujah to my Father. Hallelujah to my Jesus. I bow before the throne. When I look at all the wonder and I see all the creation, the beauty of the universe, you never change. You never lie. You never change. You never change. Hallelujah to my Jesus. Hallelujah. 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 Giving, hallelujah. Giving the highest praise. Hallelujah. Giving the highest praise. Hallelujah. Giving the highest praise.
Good morning, good afternoon, folks. I'm Francis and sort of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR-TV. What a beautiful day here this Thursday afternoon right here from the East Coast. To all our viewers and listeners, I would say thank you for joining us.
It is after prison, come the prison. It is everything.
The political talking point continues in Liberia. Hopefully, our guests will keep in place the commitment. The race in Grand Bassa County is heavily being contested. Financial violence has been put in place. The opposition to Nyombli Kanga Lawrence and the ruling establishment, Bezonga family, former pro tem of the Liberian Senate, is trying to return to Capitol Hill. And the Onador, a former community leader, activist MAGDALENE Harris, former president of Yundeboa, is in the race as well.
Hallelujah. Giving, hallelujah. Giving the highest praise.
This is our theme song, as usual. Hallelujah, giving the higher praise by Minister Bassa. Okay, a lot is unfolding in the midst of the political discourse. Representative Yakwa Kaluba returning to base, Prodigal son going back home. Is it a coincidence President George we are making a major to reshuffle and more appointments in government? These and many more. But precisely 2 years ago, this is by the way, we want to be gracious despite of our political discourse and differences in the political landscape in Liberia. Our understanding today is the President of the Republic of Liberia, Dr. George Manen Weah, of the ruling Thai CDC coalition, right? Today his birthday. And a lot of images been coming from inside the country they're celebrating. But 2 years ago, this is something, let's see this song. I see this song to be one of the songs that led to the president's victory. Let's see here.
Amanda, awetu. Amanda, awetu. Maipuye, Iliberia, Iliberia, Maipuye. Chowyak, 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 chowyak. Double.
String.
Aha, y'all want it, bro. The punch giant ready to take over.
Like
Y'all want it, Robbie. Papa, come here again.
Is he still the country giant of the land? This is the song 2 years ago that I sort of rejuvenated and really pivot into the direction. I can vehemently say this is one of the main things which George Weah, because it resonated to the people. Let's get a little taste. Today his birthday, we have to celebrate him. You know, he's our president. No bad boy for a child.
We coming again. We wanna roll cities, he coming again. We wanna roll Joe, we are coming again. We wanna roll Mama Joe, we're coming again. Up in the roll city, she coming again. I let her go to China, coming so.
Today is his birthday. We must give it to him. So, you know, to get a saying that saying there's no babush for a child. He's our president. We will critique him. We will speak out loud. We will not insult, but we will tell him as the leader of our country. We will be making good suggestions. It's at his behest, at his own will and pleasure to take this. But today is birthday. Let us get to give it to him, right?
You better move on the road. I say you better move your road. You keep raising get away. Better get away. Yen say I'm money go. I say I come. At the black, go corridor. Yen say I'm money go. I say I come. See the shake your body, shake your body,
I know the sedition, they are the happiest on planet Earth, right? But this is, you know what cassava stick does? You don't rely. Anything I can throw you in the water, you know.
See your
But I must admit, today his date, and he's the president of a sitting sovereign nation, so we must give it to him. So let's celebrate him, and we can get back to the talking point, okay?
Go corridor. Days I wanna go there. We'll celebrate. We'll celebrate. Days I'll be there for day. We'll celebrate. We'll celebrate. So the chef did already. We'll celebrate. It's a holiday, young movement. We'll celebrate. You be brothers in the young way. We'll celebrate. Nothing you can tell us now. We'll celebrate. Nothing you get to tell us now. We'll celebrate. We are inside the breeze. Our team inside the breeze.
But are we really celebrating today? We are getting that little by little, right? Who knows? The table are going to be flipping very shortly.
Becoming mayor of Peter, big politician.
You know what I call Busuruku? The cat can eat your own baby.
We don't want to punch a giant. But I know we the lion. We all are strip on giant. So save the people then. On the hands of the wicked one. So this time they gotta get away.
All right, this time they gotta get away. The Liberian people gave you way. The way is open from Morovia to the rest of the 14 political subdivision. Is that road still open today? In fact, where are those sinkers? You know, they were jubilating, shouting, which of course it merited them to do so, because no matter who goes in the race, and when you get a win, you must celebrate. But what matters is after the celebration. And I closely monitor what was going on during the 2017 presidential elections. I never had the opportunity to interview Dr. Weah. I wish Nathaniel McGee would have given me the opportunity, but I did talk to political leader, ALP leader, Benedict Ure. Alexander Kumen was barricaded by his folks as usual. So it was a very difficult one. So, you know, and that's the danger, that is the uncertainties of the politicians. They feel comfortable which direction to go, where they think their talking point, or where they feel that no one will ask them the tough questions. But there was one instance, something, despite all of the celebration, it was glaring when the process and we're monitoring information, polling centers, and the directions of the Liberian people at the time. What happened was the voters felt disenchanted. They felt that the typical politicians, has not done anything to them. So they, at this time, decided to vent their angers on the politicians. And I believe, and that's my opinion, the only person that was saying as alternative was then the CDC standard bearer, Dr. George Weah, for which a significant portions of the Liberians' electorate went to the poll and cast their ballot, as it was done in the case of Charles Taylor, because I was going around during the Taylor's elections, and people, as they say, yeah, they see him as the guy who had been the person to deliver. Similarly, that was the case of George Weah at the time when he was elected 2017, because knowing his background, where he came from, people see him as the guy who will deliver the country. And it was announced. But there's one video that I'm still keeping, and I like to play it because I listened to him keenly during his remark after the announcement. And then he was telling his supporters when he was in TIA, they called that the TFO's president. He was telling his supporters, I am not tearing out because but I'm tearing out because of you, the confident, the trust reports. But I'm wondering whether sometimes they sit in their comfort room and still play this video. It's extraordinary. It's extraordinary. You could see the emotions. You could see the heaven has fallen. Let's take a sense of what happens, and perhaps you can agree or disagree with me. This is a video. This is a very historic video. I courtesy to those who captured this image when the president of the Republic of Liberia was speaking to his supporters on a place called Sakamotri. I went there before. I had a short interview with Molubat Molu, but this was the president's reaction and supporters, or CDC, or seditions as he called them, reactions when the president and the vice president side by side surface at the headquarters of the Congress for Democratic Change. Okay, there you go. That's it right there. They were celebrating, and that video, that image is very historic. And sometimes I wonder as to whether they sit at times to play to see the ordinary Liberians, supporters that gather from all walks of life. I have no doubt or no little reservation that people came from outside of Monrovia to embrace or just to see, not that they are not saying, but to see the sort of political tsunami that was taking place in the history of our country, right? Yeah, it's almost, if not to the percentage required, equivalent to the presidency when Barack Obama took place. You saw how it went wide. But the question now is, the tearing of the president side by side with the sitting vice president with a hope to change life, situations, and affect many lives that put their trust and hope in the president, as he himself alluded. Is that still in place today? I'm not sure I have an answer to that question, but this is a sort of talking point we want to keep in the good old factions with authenticity, considering what we are hearing for the bulk of the Liberian people. Well, but today is his birthday, so we must give it to him. And that's exactly what we are doing. We do recognize here at LPR, sometimes we do things of misery, right? But today is the president's birthday. So hopefully he watched these images or even that video as well, if they are not even taking a look at it, but to take a reflections of the reactions of the Liberian people when he was overwhelmingly elected. No question, nothing about that. He was elected by the people. That is indisputable. But are the people today, are they listening to the people? Are they hearing the people? Is he doing the will of the people? Well, that talking point itself, dependent where your talking point is directed, the both eyes, they have their own talking point. They have their own argument. If you bring in the opposition, they will say no. You bring in the seditions, high core seditions that support the agenda of the president. They will also say, yes, the president is on course. So we are in such a volatile situation that this is what we have to deal with, and we have to do what we have to do, but to keep the conversation going. Hopefully our guests are going to be joining us here very shortly. But in the midst of that, there are a lot of things happening in the country, including recently the rise of the abuse of our women, of our sisters, our aunts, our children, by these dangerous characters in Liberia. These men who are unable to contain themselves for whatever reason, God one knows. And this is something all of us must frown on it. And we are calling on the government to do more, to take actions to bring those culprits, those evils, the dangerous folks in our community, to bring them to a book and put them somewhere and be given a free chance trial as well. But not only those of us that sit behind the microphone to continue these conversations, musicians, artists in the gospel, in the secular world, are also adding their voices, telling the men, telling the all grown-up men to stop that sort of barbaric behavior. Are they so much in desperation? Or is there other hidden agenda? Or is it ritual or something? Or all of these factors, are they politically motivated? Because these evildoers, those wicked people, they subscribe to all sort of demonic attitude, demonic way of doing things as a way to evoke some sort of supernatural power. I can take that off the table. Because I can't imagine to see a 50 to 40 or 60 some more year old man, for God's sake, to go after a 3-year-old, 6-year-old, 10-year-old, 12 years old. Every day is happening. But the musicians, artists are adding their voices to the talking point you and I are doing. Well, one of the young voices, and she will be appearing here, is an artist, Louise Sadie, is based in Pennsylvania, is adding her voice. Your man, just stop rapping. Let's listen to this song here. If the men can't change, I don't know when they will change.
La vida comme la now, boy on the force, yeah. In the other force, in the
I wish I could speak in the Bassa language. I would have joined Louise Sadie to sing this song for these deadly, wicked old men in Liberia.
Encore, babies on crime. So when you rap, you will go to jail. When you rap, you will go to jail. When you rap a girl, you might give her ace. When you rap a girl, you might be a fete. Rapists or rakes to the victim. Rapists or rakes to the rapist. United Nations face. Rapists or crown. Then a face. Rapists or crown. Female lawyer says. Rapists or crown. So sorry. We are your future. Future leaders. We may are your future. Future leaders, so start rape is not good. Start rape. My mama and papa says rape is not good. Little Camel says rape is not good. Michael Dennis says rape is not good. Start rape. Somebody says rape is not good. Prima says, rape is not good. Jua Hawa says, rape is not good. Star Jefferson says, rape is not good. Woki Dodo says, rape is not good. President Myra says, rape is not good. So Star
Man, please just stop this thing here. Just stop killing the country is already is in a mess. Just stop this, please.
We are your future leaders. African women are your future leaders. Liberian women are your future. Please respect us. So sorry, rape is a crown. says, rape is a crime. Dr. Tanner says, rape is a crime. Dr. Tucker says, rape is a crime. So stop rape. Moses Tanner says,
Y'all made a post out singing song now. So you need to stop, for God's sake, please.
rape is a crime. Stop rape. Stop rape. Stop rape. Stop rape. I've come to tell you, rape is a crime. I'm on my knees. Rape is a crime. So stop rape. Rape is not good. Stop rape. Rape is a crime. Rape is not good. Rape is a crime. Rape is not good. Copy code says, rape is a crime. So stop rape. Rape is not good. Jessica says, rape is not good. Don't stop rape. Stop rape. Stop rape.
Oh yes, oh yes. What a great song! So what a great song that by Louis. Louis City is based in Philadelphia. Rape is a crime, and that's the fact. It's more than a crime. Now, you didn't listen to us. You decide to do your own will. You decide to add insult to the already injured country, going through a lot of situations that we can't even comprehend. And these men are on the rampage like a loose cannon, damaging the futures of our country. We want to call on government. They should spearhead this. The lawmakers, they are no exceptions. The 103 men and women in position, opposition, independent, they are not even independent anyway. They just attach that name to give us some sort of false nomenclatures of their identity, as far as I'm concerned, because the cross-pollinations of political parties is just insane. They just all acting like more than a guano. So they are all responsible. These citizens, these young Liberians, the women that you are injuring, there's a psychological implication to long term. How many of those people say can go through even counseling? The victim, they are just victimized in triple. So I strongly believe the government, the executive branch of government, the legislative branch of government, the judiciary, the three branches of government should be held to responsible, because they all have different functions. That's why we elected you for. And you need to get to work and start being all around on the Facebook. Your supporters are the one get you guys to be what you're doing. You were elected, you are making these fabulous paid salary bonuses. All we hear all day from both sides is justifications of their action. They don't sit to discuss real national issue, to agree and disagree, and sort out to see what is applicable at this time to the Liberian people. They are all dishonest. Now they are all become good Samaritan because they still want to hold on to state power. All that they have not done in the last 9 years, they are trying to catch up now to do it overnight. So they will be seen as good characters or good citizens, or people who have their country citizens at heart. They're no different. They are all the same. They are not taking definitive position to serve as a deterrent of this sort of bad behaviors of these men and criminals. As far as I'm concerned, they have not gone through the justice system, but anybody with criminal mind, they are the only people who can do that. To see a 50-year-old man, 60. What sort of feelings that are really in you? Are you so much in desperation for sex? There are a lot of loose women in the country. and the government sits there, the executive branch, and you have the 103 men and women lawmakers who the people actually elect to represent them, to be their voices in government, and they can't sit to have a genuine conversation, regardless you're from Liberty Party, NDP, CDC or ALP, or those million parties, and you can sit for you to come to a common understanding on that's another pandemic in itself, the behavior of these people. And you can sit, for God's sake, for 1 hour or for 30 minutes, for 10 minutes, to come up with something tangible that will bring relief to our people, that we address the plight of our mothers, our sisters, our future generation. And yet you still say you want to be on Capitol Hill or in Capitol Hill there to represent or to take you what? You've been there 9 years. We haven't even felt the fruit of your person. And you want them to send you back. And you, their supporters, you are a facilitator of this crime as well. Because, and that's the good thing about this country, they don't fight their lawmakers. They don't take rocks. Sometimes they disrupt their rallies. It's normal. It's everywhere in the world, even in the British Parliament. They do fight at times when it becomes really contentious. But guess what? They can make these politicians to pay the heavy price. And we're going to see that here. But there's nothing guaranteed with our Liberian electorates. It happened once. The 15 only two returned. That was then Senator Joel Howard Taylor and Prince Johnson. I'm hoping to see for history to repeat itself. Because to be honest, 90% of those people, they don't deserve going back. They don't. That's my view. That's my opinion. And I have a strong conviction. And I have a lot of evidence to prove to that because of their behavior, their inability to also govern as lawmakers. That's their job, to propagate, to put legislation, to put tough laws in place. Why you think here every now and then people are working in a bipartisan direction, be it the Democrats or the Republicans? Yes, sometimes most of the congressional people, sometimes they do agree on certain things for the good of the country and their various constituencies. When you saw that happening in Liberia, when they go for even common rally, you don't hear anything tangible. You don't hear anything about the future of the country. But one person will take another person's name from the time that speaker starts speaking from the podium to the end. If I'm a government official, if I'm a government or CDC candidate, and I want to be a senator, and I take the podium, and I start from start of my speech to the end, and just focus on Darius Delon or focus on Nyomli Kanga-Lauren, it doesn't make sense. It's vice versa. Darius Delon take the podium, all the way from start to finish, to George Weah, to Tomafala. That's what they are doing. This sort of Caesar battle. And I wonder why sometimes the electors or the listeners or the viewers or those that are in the sections or during their deliberation, why they can't even raise their finger and say how this going to be changed, how that going to be changed. And our politicians have been very successful in playing that game because this is something that we love. This is something that we love to see. We are not used to asking them tough questions. Our questions are censored. If I'm a seditious, I don't ask Tomafala question as to, yes, okay, you've been to representative, you have done X, Y, Z. Now you are trying to elevate yourself politically, and we don't know, because if you become senator, who knows, you're going to be even at the higher office of the land. They were not asking questions. Everybody will be there like a Zion Grove Baptist Church. They will be clapping. The same thing goes to the opposition as well. When Darius Delon is speaking, when Nyomli Kanga-Lauren is speaking, when Benana Yuri is speaking, Nobody got the guts to ask them questions. Yeah, I understand you are my political leader. You have been in this for 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10 years. So why are you still in it? What do you hope to achieve? Or what is your idea to change what is happening now? Nobody, they don't ask them those questions. Then when they get there, they're not doing something, they're not doing anything. Then you turn around, you want to start whining, you want to start crying, baby cry. You are the one are getting these politicians to do what they are doing, because you do not have the guts to stand up to people that you even support, even if if they do it the wrong way. And then at the end of the day, you give all of us headache. Politicians give justifications to their action. Opposition gave justification to their action. Government gives justification to their action. Their supporters also embrace that and say, yes, what are you talking to our men for? When they were there yesterday, they didn't do it. So why now? You can see that sort of pattern consistently from years in years in years. And there's no indication that we're going to change in that direction as we speak, because nobody is willing to stand up to the task. Their honeymoon, it doesn't last. It's all the activities is on a short-term basis, and perhaps for just a little minute reason for which they form themselves and say, let's do it this way. I don't see their approach to be nationalistic, because it was so they were asked their leaders some tough questions as well. And who told you that when you're supporting somebody, you can't even ask them? Is that a taboo in Liberia? Or then that's the end of the world? Yes, when you're supporting people, you have to be honest and hold them accountable. But we don't. We don't even ask for their platform. They don't have any platform. This is why you see them all over the place dishing out money. They dish out money to give it, they apply financial violence in place of authentic votes as a country to make a good decision for their country. I wouldn't be surprised if we see that again happening this time around the same way. Yeah. We keep talking and talking and talking. At the end of the day, we get migraine, go to Walgreens, CVS, whatever you are, and just buy headache pain and take it, because there is no evidence of these people try to change their thoughts process. And then they think some sort of magic God want to use this miraculous way to say you help you make stupid decision for the country. You did not take you did not put your senses to use. You deliberate on purpose because of little or nothing. You sell yourself out, and then after a few months, and then you put your hair, you start scratching your hair, and say, "Oh, if I knew this, I thought. I didn't know he was going to be like that. I thought he's changed." You see Donald Trump changing here? No. He started it from this day one, what he was going to do. And so now when I see this pundit, oh, the man, he going to be presidential. Where is he going to be presidential? The man, he says everything that he was going to do, and that's exactly what he's doing. So why people are surprised? So these people, they didn't do it for the last 9 years, and they are trying to catch up now to do it overnight, running like a 747 jet picking up from Roberts International Airport to an unknown land. And you all guys, you all going into you all are in their bear wagon. But there are so many factors also responsible. But we have to stand up against these people, not in a violent type, but to stand up and ask them questions. And we have the right to demand answers, because we hire them to do a piece of job for us. And apparently, most of them, if not all, but 99%, they are not. Some of them don't even go home for break. But when you call them now, oh, I in district number days, I in the so place. And you're gonna empathize with them. You're gonna throw them, you're gonna give them back, you're gonna care them again. And then we'll come back here, we'll start talking the same thing. The three branches of government, they work simultaneously, and there must be some sort of a level of coordinations in terms of meeting the needs and goals, how the government's going to function, good governance. If you make the executive weak, and you think you're going to make the legislative branch strong, you missed the point. You know third world countries, you know Liberia. So it's not only out there with the executive branch of government. If you also have a corrupt and dishonest legislative branch of government that is not holding the executive branch of government, they are equally and proportionally responsible for all the bad things that are going on in the country. You see, everybody bursts into flame now with this whole passport saga. Is that a strange thing? You think, is that a strange thing? It's not a strange news to me. And it comes down to the point of people electing people who are not doing their job. They go and sleep. They ride their big tinted cars, AC. They should have committees that are responsible for autonomous agencies and bureaus of government with oversight responsibility. And their job is to conduct routinely the work where they are assigned. Why nobody even catch that? Why? It's because they're not doing their job. You think the Committee on Foreign Affairs are both houses, the lower and the upper? If they were holding these people responsible, you think we want to be having this sort of talk here, this headache that we are having? We could be talking other national issues. So how long it took? How long has it been going on? How many passports out there now that you think you can give an account of? Zero. It's not an overnight event. It has been there for years because people embrace that culture of corruption, dishonesty, to corrupt their own country, and then they turn around and begin to point fingers at other people. So where is the committee, for God's sake, in both houses of government? Why nobody see this coming at all? Or it's just automatic that it just happened now and we're all just going nuts with this whole thing? That's the problem that we have in our country. Politicians, no matter which side, find themselves very unstable. The in and out, like people just walking in the swamp. One day they're on the shore, another day they go in the swamp. One day they're offshore, the another time they go there. They don't even know what they're looking for. They are in and out. As long as it doesn't meet their desire, their personal, not even the desire, or not even for the good of the country, as long as it's not going their way, they form their own party. And this is why they can't even to reach a consensus to get things done. Once they're against their personal interests, forget it. And we expect things to happen, and we expect good things to happen. If our mindset is not changed in our country as to how we want our country to be, we'll just be like this. No matter who is the president, it will be the same thing. The responsibility. Why you think anytime when things happen, Uncle Sam will always say, let the people take responsibility. They don't just want to jump into your things and interfere into your stuff. You know, we Liberians, we are like this. When we are in a little good time, then we start telling them we are a sovereign nation. Don't interfere into our political affairs. And they rather use big words. Don't interfere. That now your business, you can't tell us what to do. You don't have anything before you tell. You say you can't tell people what to do. Your government is dependent on outside help, and you say you can't tell. They can't tell you what to do. But when the going gets tough and the tough gets going, then you score in from all of the networks, America, international community, and this and that. They start making requests. So, what I'm waiting for my guests to come, I'm not getting the indication here. But like we said, and we all been wanting here that the president, there is a need, but I'm not sure whether it's sufficient. So when she didn't even come yesterday, we're going to open the line up here as well. Politicians, I don't know whether it's a coincidence. The president, today is a birthday, and he make how you call it, major appointment reshuffle. So I'm trying to calculate here to put on my thinking here. One of these programs I will listen to, Focus on Africa, and then the deputy presidential secretary was telling FOL that focus on Liberia. Out of a friend and brother Dennis Ja, and he said, wait until October 1st. They're going to be a big news. There are always people in the inner cycle to Focus on Africa. That was, I believe, last week, last editions. He was on this Sunday. They're going to be a big news. So normally those that are within the inner cycle, they get a heads up of what's going to be happening. So we see a lot of appointments being made in government today. And then this brother as well, let me see, he decided to return home. Okay. Yeah, he decided to return home today. He has been with the opposition. There was a major press. There was a press conference today to Representative Yeket Koluba. Let's listen to that very brief, short press conference that he had today.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen of the press.
Yeah, go on.
Ladies and gentlemen of the press, I call you people here this morning because today is one of the happiest days in my life. And my press conference is going to be very short. I'm not going to take caution. What I will say, you can report it. I call this press conference because having consultation, discussion with our supporters, the standard bearers of the collaborating parties, I hereby recommit myself to the CPP and canceling my suspension and becoming a full-fledged and a bona fide member again of the CPP. So, and I also, in this light, want to say to our support and the Liberian people, today being one of the happiest days in my life, I hereby rejoin the COP. Thank you very much.
Let's see what are we. Talk to one of the ranking members of the Council of State. Let's talk to more welcome.
Okay, you here as a senior official of the collaborative political parties and that of the COP, Representative Yeket Koluba has rejoined the both institutions. What's your take?
Well, Yeke has always been a member. He didn't go anywhere. Sometimes there can be issues, internal issues, and our strength at PPP stems from the fact that we can resolve our internal issues and bring back our members on board. So it is no surprise that the Honorable Yeke Koluba has recommitted himself to both institutions, and we received him with open arms. For us, we didn't see him as somebody who left, and that is the reason why whenever he's under this constant attack from state-sponsored hooligans, we see it as an obligation to come to him and to come to his rescue. It could happen to anybody. We don't see any reason why consistently the government will sponsor people to attack Yeke. Yeke says what is right. Yeke goes to the media, government, he critiques the doing of government, and he doesn't exclude the branch of government he works with. He works with the legislative branch, and he critiques the legislative branch as well. So nobody should see it as an affront that Yeke is consistently critiquing all branches of government. They should see it as a welcoming idea that nobody is resorting to violence, that people are speaking out their mind, people are speaking out on the issues that affect the daily lives of our people. And so we wholeheartedly welcome Yeke again, and we are always working with him. Thank you.
Okay, let's join the Secretary General of the Office of Patriots. Representative is now part of your team. How do you feel?
Well, in the first place, I don't think he left the team. There are always problems in institutions. I'm one person who believes that once people come together, people have varying opinions, varying backgrounds. There will be disagreements, but how we fix our problems, I think, makes us better people. To even fully express how we believe that he did not leave when he was under attack on Sunday. We have some of our members here at his rescue. And unfortunately, the police arrested them, and they are holding them on charges that are yet to be made known beyond certain period. So our lawyers have filed a relevant rate habeas corpus. So by 3 o'clock today, there will be a arraigned before the court, and the state has to provide reasons why they're still being detained or kept in custody. So we believe that Yeke joining or rejoining the COP is a great thing. Yeke brings a whole new argument to our discourse, our political discourse. Some are offended by the way he speaks, his language, his choice of words, the way he composes himself. But again, that's one thing you can regulate people's behavior. All right, people bring dynamism to institutions. People hold people accountable on different levels. Yeke will not be doing the things he's doing if the things that he's speaking against were not done. Yeke consistently speaks against bad governance. So if everything was okay, I'm sure there will be no Yeke doing such things. So why don't we shift our argument from the way Yeke behaves, makes Yeke do the things that he does? That would be a better approach. Why is Yeke doing this? So let's not deal with that, right? But let's deal with why Yeke does this. So once we understand that clearly, I think Yeke's choice of words will be entirely insignificant compared to why he does the things he does.
Okay.
Don't you think it's prudent enough that the COP or the CPP institute legal action against those that are in a consistent habit of attacking the home of Representative Yeke Koluba?
Well, the first thing is this government should be embarrassed, right? Whatever happens in this country, once there's a breakdown in rule of law, in governance, in order, it takes away from the government. The rating of the government's fight against violence comes down. So it is a government thing. It is not a CPP, it's not a UP, it's not a CDC thing. It's a government thing, right? So this government has got to ensure that particularly opposition figures are not attacked. But once that consistently happens, it borders around the government's image, the government's integrity, the government's credibility. So if this government has to transcend the pettiness, right, it has to ensure that there is a level playing field for everyone. This country has to be for everyone. Everybody has to live in this country without the fear of being attacked. But the government, especially, that has to work for everyone. That has to be clearly articulated in unequivocal terms. This government has got to understand that everybody can sing the same song. We all can join CDC. Someone has to hold other people accountable. Own voice, and we encourage others to join, right? That is why you can coming back to the COP. We think it's a milestone. We think it is a first step to bring in more people within our fold, especially the founders, those who initially envisioned this particular dream. So we wanted to come back. The dream is still there. Let's work on the dream. Let's correct it. Let's change it. But at least let's ensure we have a dream to further. And we encourage all of them to come back. All of them, the Tila Yuri, the Oscar Cooper, all of them. The COP is still here. It's going to be better going forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let me see. There you have it. Let me just to the way. Okay. That's it. this is a clear indication how our political institutions are not even structured, be it the oppositions of government. You walk in, you go anytime, you spend time, you go to Sando County, you go to Riverside, you go do fishing or whatever, you come back and there is no system. So when you have political institutions, and that's the result, because most of these people, they don't pay party due, so they do whatever they want to do, and the party executives can't hold them accountable. If you look at the history of our country, only few political parties either have a membership, have a roster. But today, it's not like that. We're going to come back to the same talking point. We will come back. I'm recommitting. These are some of the things. This is how bad governance starts. But nobody wants to pay attention to it. I recommitted myself. I'm not canceling my entire membership. And the Secretary General coming out, that's been very disingenuous to say that he did not even, there was official communication. So I'm wondering, was that a just overnight press conference that they called, they sought out? So whatever sought out now, what has been the positions of the COP to, in terms of if such a behavior is repeated? This is to show politicians in Liberia, the government, the oppositions, they are so desperate for state power. Calling Oscar Cooper or all the other people, they can come. So they are not going to even, there is nothing, there is no sort of guidelines. I can definitely come up with that position. I just leave an institution, something that's supposed to be an institution, the political party, and they must have their own set rules. You can't be like a high-profile person out of the sudden because somebody you did not agree with other people's opinion. You come off, you just explode like a wildfire. You go, you stay, and then you come back, say, okay, I will cancel, I come back. Is that how we're going to be running the country? It simply tells me that these people, our politicians, and this is why they are not held accountable. Because they're down the step right now and they refuse to be held accountable. Nobody wants to ask them question. You come and make statement, you say nobody, you're not explaining anything. This is how desperate our politicians, all of them, both sides of the aisle, that's how desperate they are. They can compromise for anything. Yes, he has some valid points, no questions about that. But it comes back to this being politically intolerant on some of these things. To address it, to figure out a way. And that's what killing us as a country, as a nation. Our politicians, they are all, they don't have that tolerance. They are not disciplined. They act on emotions, and they move according to the wave of the people. And that's not how leaders operate. A leader must be stable. A leader is there to stabilize. A leader is there to reduce tension. A leader is the last person that speaks, because when you speak, then people listen. That's what a leader is. Unless you want to be that kind of unless they want to be the kind of Donald Trump star. Even when his own base, when people telling him say this is not right, he swears it's right. And by the time he turned his back, he would throw some sort of bizarre tweet out there and inflame the whole thing. That's how our folks are behaving in Liberia. They do not hold people accountable. A political institution, first of all, you are in the process, you are working to gain state power. There must be discipline. There must be discipline within this institution, because as long as these institutions are not disciplined, that's how the government becomes loose. Because all of these things, these bad behavior, they take from their organization, political party, whatever group, they take it, and eventually they take state power. All of those things, because if you can't fix it now, there's nothing guaranteed that when you take state power tomorrow, it's going to be fixed, because it's already in your DNA. And we saw that happening within the CDC. Everybody was leader. The then Senator who was senator, more or less, he was less speaking guy, and you could see some of those folks today who are more dominant in the party now in terms of their voices or their voice. That's how it started from, because the leadership or the executive of the council, the governing council, whatever structure they might have, did not come down, crack on them, because there was so much in desperation. They wanted state power, and so they feel that anything they do, they're going to minimize their vote or their cause will be defeated. So I didn't see any core principle, and that's a repetition of what is happening today. He left. Nobody bring me to this party. I can come anytime. I can go anytime. What sort of country is that? I came. I didn't knock the door. By the time I touched the door handle, the door opens, and I walk in, and I sat in the living room. We all had glasses, and I say, "I'm part of you." And everybody cry, "Hey, welcome on board." So when that happens, when people can do a little bit form fillings of their membership, what they bring into the table, to they go through little guidelines for God's sake, for formality, to hold them accountable, and they just touch the door handle and you welcome them, and you're sat there, you drink beer, you did whatever do, you had a fine time. That's how they're going to go back to that door and walk out, because there is no system. And as long as we do not have a system, it is not only government should have a system. These organizations, even with this network, and that's why you have a slot. If I'm supposed to be on at this time, consistent with the policies of that organization, I must be on. If I'm not coming on, I should be able to tell management, because of X, Y, Z, I will not be on air today. And potentially somebody could fill in that gap. So system, it's not on the government alone. In our individual homes, there are routines. You give your kids instruction to what to do, what not to do. There are limitations. And we need to practicalize that. We need to also have that within our own institution, be a political institution. But again, I've said this over and over and over. I do not believe in our politicians, whether in the ruling establishment, whether in the oppositions, and it is glaring because people are unable to tell people, yes, I support you. Yes, you are a strong voice. Yes, you speak on some of this issue, but this time around, you missed the mark. If we can just only by mistake we do that, then they will also know these people, they are individuals. But because of so much in desperation for state power, we settle down for nothing or little. After 2, 3, 4 months again, we'll come back to this point where I came for, and I when I decided to come back. This time again, I'm out because I try, and the people are not helping. Then you go out. Then after 1 week, when you go there, and things get tough, and things get tough, and the tough gets going, then you come back. That's how that sort of visual cycle. That's how these politicians are behaving in Liberia. All the people that were with NPP, they're going to how they call it, they left. They were with Unity Party of Helen Johnson Sirleaf. Helen Johnson Sirleaf gone. Everybody now gone over to the ruling establishment. If for any reason, there's a political change tomorrow, the other group They will come and bring them because we do not have systems. We do not make hardcore decisions to say, okay, we see where you come, but we're gonna review your applications and we will get back to you. Nobody reviews anything. By the time you say you are with you, they say come. And then we expect things to change, and we expect to have a sovereign country. And we think that it's just going to be automatic. It is scary. It is scary. So I don't know, but this is something we will, whatever the situation is, we'll continue to talk it, and we will be talking it.
So when you read, you will go to jail. When you read, you will go to jail. When you rape a girl, you might give her ace. When you rape a girl, you might be a fete. Rape is a race to the victim. Rape is a race to the rapist. United Nations face, rape is a crime. Then a face, rape is a crime. Female lawyer says, rape is a crime. So sorry, we are your future leaders. We are your future leaders. So sorry, rape is not good. Sorry, my mama and papa says, rape is not good. Lena Camel says, rape is not good. Michael Dennis says, rape is not good. Sorry, somebody says, rape is not good. Prima says, rape is not good. Jua Howard says, rape is not good. Sorry, Jefferson says, rape is not good. Woki Dodo says, rape is not good. President Mara says, rape is not good. So sorry.
Well, there's a candidate and humanitarian appeal there by a librarian database in Philadelphia, Louis City. She's going to be our guest here at some point in time. Rape is a crime. You need to stop that. Musician making son and ordinary men, please.
We are your future. Please respect us. So sorry. Rape is a crime. Sorry. Mostly says rape is a crime. Christian says rape is a crime. Prairie Pay says rape is a crime. Dr. Tennis says rape is a crime. Dr. Topa says rape is a crime. So sorry. Moses Dennis says rape is a crime. So sorry. Rape is a crime. Stop rape. Stop rape. Stop rape. Stop rape. I've come to tell you, rape is a crime. I'm on my knees. Rape is a crime. So stop rape. Rape is not good.
Oh, yes. I want to thank our sister, that's Louis City, based in Philadelphia, for such a beautiful song. Rape is a crime. It's not good for our country. It's not good for society. It's anywhere, not even Liberia. And there's a need that our men, the men in Liberia, should stop that, to cut that off. Okay, Madeline Davis is someone, she's contesting for the senatorial race in Liberia, Grand Bassa County. We have a rendezvous, 12:30 today, and here we are, 1:05 p.m. here, pretty close to after 5 in Liberia. She has not responded. I've not seen any phone call or message yet to indicate, okay, I'm running late. This is the reason, XYZ. There's nothing. And that speaks to the volume, some of the things that we are talking about. When you get a rendezvous, when you have an appointment and somebody take off their time, you have to, if there's any delay. That's why everybody get smartphone or whatever phone nowadays. And these are some of the things people, if you're not prepared to do something, don't jump into it. Don't. I mean, that's who I am. I don't miss anything. And that's why most people sometimes they don't like, because when you and I make a deal, we're supposed to do something. Yes, things happen. You know, it's emergency event occur in a split second, anything. But out of a courtesy and respect, you must be able to say, okay, because of X, Y, Z, okay, can we readjust this time, or can we do another time? But if there's no call, no show, you simply tell me like, okay, this is who. Yeah, I don't even believe in what you want to do. You don't even get there yet, and you start, you know. But I'm gonna give time, and we come. I will hear from them. You know, hopefully, she commit herself. But in the meantime, while we're there, as a matter of fact, Thursdays is always all things I consider it was just a coincidence, and we're going to have us a special guest. So even when she can even come on today, not a big deal. They can do it. You reach out, and we wanted to give you the opportunity to add your voice to the conversation in Liberia. But you heard the press conference of Representative Yeka Calabat. I don't know whether it's just a coincidence. Politicians that do a lot of things. And probably I will open the phone lines in a bit. We can get a word from her. As you are aware, the President of the Republic of Liberia, Dr. George Weah, made several appointments in government today. So is it a time cry that we are being on here, Mr. President? You need to make a reshuffle. You need to do this. You need to do that. Is it in that political context? And is it enough in terms of the political the appointments made by the president? Let me just go through this here. That was posted on the official website, our folks, Liberia Public Radio. But right now, I'm going strictly to the official website of the Executive Mansion, because even our people report anything, we'll try to get some other independent sources to also confirm that. And this time around, it can be only confirmed by the Executive Mansion, folks closer to the president. This is why it says here, President Weah makes several appointments in government. I believe, yeah, today his birthday, so it coincides with his birthday. To Monrovia, Liberia, this is the release. Monrovia, Liberia, the President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Dr. George Weah, has made appointments in government affecting several ministries. This appointment with immediate effect and subject to confirmation by the Liberian Senate where applicable. You know, sometimes they think that I pull up, I don't know, whatever. Okay, these are the people that I appointed from the Executive Mansion to release. Ministry of National Defense, Prince K. Vincent, Minister Operations, I believe that was the post by, that was Zolizo Taplat, aka Taplat, was designated to. The Ministry of Commerce and Industry, okay. Mawint G. Dix, Minister. Deborah Nimbold, Deputy Minister, Small Businesses. So it means Professor Wilson Tappet, there's a reshuffle right there. Minister of Foreign Affairs, Comfort Soyot, Deputy Minister Administration. Now, I'm concerned here because Mr. Heron Famula has been there for the administration. I'm not sure whether he's acting now or there are two deputy for administration. We're going to double check with that. He just had a press conference yesterday addressing himself to the passport saga, and we see here as deputy for administration. In fact, there's a planned rendezvous where we wanted to speak with him to address this, and he's been in the Foreign Service for a long while. He served as ambassador for Afro-Asian Affairs during the presidency of Helen Johnson Sirleaf. So he's been in the foreign mission for quite a while. Heron Family, former lawmaker of Moserado County. Okay, the Ministry of Education, Tanu Manwolot Bongolit, Assistant Minister, Student Personal Services. You're right. Minister of Labor, Hanant Macaulay Cabo, Deputy Minister to Manpower Development. National Public Health Institute of Liberia, Jean Macaulay. Do you remember Fala? Okay, so that's a clear indication that Fala is going for good. Ministry of Information, okay. Lejahu Julius Randy is the current director of the Liberian Broadcasting Corporation, which happens to be the state-run media. LBC, it's a Lejahu, veteran journalist. For the most part, he has been the one been having access to the president to interview the president. So now there's a big elevations administratively. He's gone to the Ministry of Information, the house that is responsible to interpret and speak for the government of the Republic of Liberia. After the CDC-led government, Eugene Nambwe was one of those for the past years, was asked to stay on. I'm not sure this guy, he's been there. I'm not sure. We are waiting to see what's going to be the change within the ministry because I'm seeing what his name, Deputy Minister for Public Affairs, one of the official spokespersons of the government of Liberia, now is coming up with another reality. I don't know what we're waiting to see why it is, but definitely there should be a complete overhaul at that ministry. And the government addressed itself to that in the past, that the form of communication, the coordination with information, the flow of information, and even how it gets to the outside world, the foreign missions, people accredited near the capital, who have taken a change. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm not sure whether that change is in effect. So Eugene Nambwe is out. Minister Eugene Nambwe is out, bringing in a state media to run to Legit Rennie, who have had a good access to the president. Estella Liberty Kamal, young lady, is now the Director General of the Liberian Broadcasting Corporation. Okay, one in new bottle, they're still recycling. Now to Eugene Nambwe now gone to Maritime. Maritime going to be the commissioner to reside over these vessels that are flying to Liberian flags across the globe. So that's where he gone to. National Security Agency, Bintat Naj Jallo, Deputy Director, VIP. Drug Enforcement Agency, DEA, Marcos Zoe, Director General. Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission, LACC. The commission there said the people say corrupting, so I don't even know. This is just a waste of government resources. This is where I think they need to downsize or government or even condense some of these ministerial agencies of government. That's what I expected. When you come, when you take over, that's what I expected, because the size of the government from Helen Johnson Sirleaf's side, it was very huge. And mind you, they have their people that supported them into this political cause that gave them state power. So Those people have to be incorporated in national government. It's the same thing. Even with the CPP or whatever after election 2023, whoever wins it, if they take over, all these people that are talking, running all over here, acting like a little chihuahua, they are all looking for, anybody tells you that they're not looking for a job, they're doing it for the Liberian people, they're lying. They're looking for a job. Why you don't want to work for your country? Unless you are dishonest, unless you are not serious, unless you plan having different things for your country. I want to, it's a proud to work for your country. It's a proud to serve your country. But the mindset as to how you're going to serve your country, that's the question. The honesty aspect of that in serving your country, that's the question. I want to serve my country. And when I serve my country, I want to create a hallmark. I want to make an impact. So all these people talking politicians, we're doing it for the Liberian. They're not doing it for no Liberian people. They're doing it for themselves. Tell them just how it is. It is for themselves. You know how long we've been hearing our war? For the people, for the people. When they get there, what happens? It turns out for myself. All their advocacy is for themselves. They profess to do it because they use that under the banner of our people, to be the ones that champion the cause of the people. And then when you get there, you don't even look at your people. You don't put the interests of your people. You don't put the interests of your country. It's only about you. When concession comes, you want to know how much you're going to get in as an individual. You get even more than to what's supposed to go into government revenue. Then you say for your people, it's for yourself. So nobody is talking for me. People that are talking, they're talking for themselves. I have to talk for myself. But saying they want state power, we need to hold them accountable. They need to tell us their real goals, their real self. All the people here, yeah. Why you think all of these auxiliary groups, they are forming this auxiliary group? There is some sort of political reward in it. Are you hearing what I'm saying? There is a political reward. It's not for nothing. It's not just advocating for you or to want to see what is right for the country. And we have an empirical example of that. The Lord said the mayor of Liberia, he was in the vanguard. He went to prison. He stood against Helen Johnson Sirleaf, whether he was in the right context or not, but he was one of the loudest voices against then the ruling party. Okay, so what happens after 2017? His party emerged as the victor of the election, and he was on the transitional team. And after being on the transitional team, where you see him today, he's the city mayor of a city of the city, the biggest city in Liberia, and very close ally to the president, because he was in the vanguard. He had the young folks. He energized them, whether in a good context or wrong context, but he energized them to ultimate sacrifice price was paid, so he get it. So all the other people working at, oh, wait a minute, there's something being ahead of a youth league. There's something being ahead of a solidarity brigade. There's something being ahead of this group, that group. This is why you see all of these proliferations of these militant groups, which in itself I see is wrong, and that our politicians are not addressing that because they see these groups as people that are going to use to pave their way to state power. And you can't tell me that you have these people all day sour from morning to evening time with backpacks on their back, with red barrel, blue barrel, green barrel. More colors, we want to see more colors surfacing. And then when you take state power tomorrow, you say you're not going to accommodate that, then you bring trouble to yourself. So that's the strategy. It works for other people in the past, and so other people, they have followed that pattern. This is a very good formula. We're going to have the young folks as our base. So we have to do this. And then the young people get there, forget it, man. As soon as we get there, I will be so. When I'm there, you will be my special assistant. You will be this, and we'll get you into those places. It worked in the past, and it can potentially work in the future. That's the reason you see these proliferations endorsed, embraced by government, by the opposition. but failing to realize most of these people heavily, they were involved in the civil crisis. And I have a strong apprehension as to whether enough demobilization, counseling, rehabilitation is taking place. No. What you see happening in Liberia is abnormal. Politicians have successfully deployed their political tactics as a way to hold on to state power. I had not done that because if not so, the National Rehabilitation Commission that is responsible to rehabilitate, to go out there to international community. And I can tell you, any country in the world that went through heavy civil crisis, that in the case of Liberia, they get a lot of help. But because the politicians have used these people, because the politician has presented these people, and the whole world is glaring, they are saying it. The national government leaders, political leaders, inability to see way ahead, to think about the future, to build and rebuild the lives of these people, to make them successful, to make them to be self-reliant, to depend on to give them the ability to make informed decisions of themselves. They said, no, when we do this here, we will not get what we want. I will not go back in the Senate. I will not be re-elected as president. I will not go as party leader. So they have deliberately on purpose suppressed the potential of these people, and they have failed to go out there to the outside world to get fundings to have this sort of that commission to restructure. So what they did cleverly, the 103 men, they have converted themselves as to humanitarian goodwill Samaritans instead of funding sources, instead of putting legislation in place to enhance the capacity of this young generation. They are not doing that. And that bait these politicians throw out, our futures, our brothers and sisters, they already get into that bait. So now everybody dressing like a paramilitary personnel. You don't even know who is the real one, who is the immigration, who is the police, who is in the army. Everybody wearing khaki, everybody wearing red barrel, everybody wearing black barrel. And for some of us, we see that as a big flashback when we look at the history of the country where we came from. And you, more scarily, if you listen to the tone of these people, things that comes out of their mouth, things that they say, that is also their political leaders, their politicians have to facilitate this sort of rare meat that is being thrown out there. It's alarming. And they're not even talking. Nobody is saying anything about it. They see them as a way to pave to state power. So they are all doing self-help, self-project. How many of them can sustain that if they don't even win election tomorrow? Where are you going to get the resources from? Where are you going to get it from? Folks, we are in a double trouble. And if we do not mindful, if we don't think ahead, because you people are not telling these guys that you're supporting, whether you're for the government, you're for the opposition, you are not telling these people what they're supposed to be doing to pose as an alternative or to do what is right. You are being a facilitator. You are also facilitating a crime, whether knowingly or unknowingly, because you feel, you witness, you see something is happening and you know it's wrong, but you close your one eyeball or you deliberately on purpose decide to wear dark shades when you're not supposed to be wearing dark shades in the night, or because you want to play blind eyes to it. So you are also a collaborator. You also facilitate that crime, and you must also answer question to it. That's what is happening in our country. And we don't want to talk about it. So here is the guy, Professor Wilson Tape, from Commerce, is now gone to where he's now the executive director of EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency. the guy who said there was another layer added. We don't know what that layer, whether he removed it before going to EPA now. Remember during the stimulus, WHO added another layer. Nobody knows the layer that was added today. And now for commerce, he gone to the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency. And then we have Antonin Lucretia Timmons Anderson, juvenile court, Moserado County, George. Yeah, juvenile court. These are the appointments made by the government. Isn't that enough? I'm going to open the line here. I think I've done well enough to give. Let me just check my message here, whether this any message coming in from this lady. No, as far as I'm concerned, there's no message, not even to suggest that, oh, I'm caught up in traffic because of the traffic in I don't know what that traffic is in Buchanan that much, but the fact here is there is no message. Let me see. I think I have a picture here. Let me just put it out here. Yeah, and our folks did a bit of Madeleine Harris. He is a former president of Uniboa. Is now contesting. Yeah, that's her. We have a rendezvous in place to be here. And the thing about these things, it makes people, we don't just come on air because you want to come on air. When I'm having an interview, when I have a rendezvous with the person, you have to have our technicians to do flyer, to capture the imaginations of the people, to make them, to treat them with honor and respect. You take up time to research, to do fact finding, to get information about this individual, and ask them questions that are worth asking, and give them the opportunity to answer, to speak for themselves. So it's a time consuming. It's a time consuming to say, okay, I'm going to have so person at this period of time that is agreeable by both parties, and on it to see no call, no show, that same Liberian way of doing things, and you say you want to be a leader, that's troubling. I see that as a serious problem, because you have to lay the foundation. You have to lay the foundation. If there's anything for any reason that you cannot on people's appointment, it doesn't matter. Naturally, it just take a click of a message and say, you know what, X, Y, Z happens so that we can do it. And then a person can quickly adjust his or her position. Like you told somebody, wait for me, I will be coming to your house, and that person abandoned his or her activities and is sitting there like a statue waiting. Doorbell can ring, no phone call coming, no message coming, and just sitting down, and you just kind of try to throw their whole day off. These are the things that we deal with on a daily basis. And I think it's unfair, whether leader or not, that people, you must be able to coordinate. You must be able to communicate. It is very important. I don't know what is happening, but hey, from 12 to 1:27, extra 1 hour, 30 minutes, and there's no indication to say this has happened to me also. Come on. It's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. I'm going to be putting the number out here in a little bit, and then hopefully people who are willing to, because in the next 30 minutes or 50 minutes, we're going to wrap up here. Usually we always have our all things considered here to speak on issues that are so much of concern to you, and you want to talk about it as well. That's what we designed this program for. So just bear with me a little bit. While I'm doing that, to put this number on, let me just give you this this little music to this man that must stop the rape.
Miniano Fosini, I'm away yo. Papa, oh, bread, oh, uncle, ravens on crowd. So when you red, you a god of Joe. When you red, you a god of Joe. When you rap a girl, you might give her ace. When you rap a girl, you might be a fete. Ravens or rakes to the victim. Ravens or rakes to the rapist. You not let your face. Ravens or crown. Then a face. Ravens or crown. Female lawyer says. Ravens or crown. So sorry. We are your future leaders. We may are your future leaders. So start rain, ravens not good. Start rain. My mama and papa says, ravens not good. Little camel says, ravens not good. Michael Dennis says, ravens not good. Start rain. Somebody says, ravens not good. Prima says, ravens not good. Jua Howard says, ravens not good. Starry Jefferson says, ravens not good. Wookie Dodo says, ravens not good. President Myra says, ravens not good. So starry.
Okay, let me see here. All right, let me see here. George, are you there?
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Okay, Ty, good afternoon, and I welcome as well. Thank you always for being there. How are you doing today?
Well, can't complain.
Even when you complain, who you really gonna take the complaint to? Okay.
No, what?
Yeah,
you other good problem.
I know. The complaint you just insult to injury. Okay, let me get to you here. I know all things considered here, but let me just tap into what you're going to be your argument here. Was it just a mere coincidence today, the appointments, you being calling for the president to make a reshuffle, to restructure the government, and that happens today? Is that enough or just a baby step?
Mr. So, this is just recycling people. What you think I'm going? Maritime. You bring regular remaining from LPS to information. You take wasting time that you're saying to what you call it? What the bureau name?
Who not? Radio going to information.
Yeah. Then you take Eugene number and saying to maritime. And you take wasting time for comment you're saying to what do you call it? The bureau.
Now, Drugs Enforcement Agency, DEA. No, environmental protection. Environmental
protection.
Yeah.
This is just recycling. Are there new faces that will bring some energy to the government? Are these new faces that will make some changes to see the way? No. This is just, for me, it's just a formality. This was just joking. It's the same old people. How productive
do you see that? Do you see that as a distraction? Is it a political ploy by the government to change the conversation?
No, Mr. So, I mean, what do you want to describe political charade or that thing can change dynamics? It won't change anything, Mr. So. These are the same old people. These are the same old people. And you talk about Richard, you try to bring in some people who people will say, oh yeah, okay, no, this person has done this person has done this in the prior era or this era. I think we got confident in them. But you just recycling these people. Just recycling the people. I really don't see any changes coming in. But you see old people. I don't see it. Maybe I might be wrong, but I don't see it. Usually, I'm not the Minister of Information. What happened there? Now you're saying the maritime to go make more money now.
How you coming out with that conclusion, Pa Joyce?
But that's it. Maritime want to know what maritime look like. Usually I'm going to say about drive that at the Ministry of Information. Now he's saying to maritime and to go get rich. What's the type he's saying to Environmental Protection Agency? Where they talk about, I know, 30 million or how many million hours coming in. So he's saying, what's the type there now? What is that?
Okay.
You guys
So
you take Reggie who's running for LPR, bring it to Ministry of Information.
don't you think there's going to be a change? Nothing?
What changes Reggie have made at LPS? What changes you see there?
Your man having a reality, probably he will stop the reality show that is coming out. Fagon is having a reality show now.
But that's what they're doing. The news agency, you know. The Liberian news agency, where is it today? Any guy, what is that name? Party Kwame West go all the way to bombing every day. Is that what the news agency is supposed to be? Limnut? LBS, the people can have a year LBS in Bon County or Nimba.
Okay.
So what the dynamics? What change would it make? But anyway, that's the government.
Okay. So all right, we've got to make it proportional now. We talk about the government. You are very critical, which is a good thing. Your opinions, your views, acceptable. Let's pivot in the directions of the opposition, the group that also position himself to be alternative to some of the bad governance. And was it just a mere coincidence to see what happens today? Representative Yeke Koluba call a press conference and say, okay, let me see here. I make a notation here. Let me pick, oh, it dropped here. Let me pick it up here. I've recommitted myself. I'm canceling my suspension to rejoin the COP or CPP, what it is. What do you make of that?
Mr. So.
Do we have a system within this political party, or I can come in anytime, I can walk out anytime?
No system. And you know what happened, Mr. So? You know why you go back went back? It's safety. Let me tell you honestly, it's safety.
Safety. I think that's a good cardinal point. You have no other alternative, right?
Yes, because according to Yeke Koluba, CDC, he named the speaker, and other people have been behind him that the only way he will have peace of mind until he joined the CDC. And he has remained defined that he cannot join the CDC. So when he decided to leave both organizations to stand alone, he's seen the terror, the pressure being put on him, the threat being put to his life. And he does not have that support base lonely to withstand that terror from the government.
Okay, so then if that's the case, which is a very valid point, so what were his calculations initially, knowing very well? I don't think it's a surprise to him because these sort of things been happening, which is absurd and nothing much is being done. We've not been saying people that are really responsible. To what extent these people that are responsible, whether they have been arrested, and if they are arrested, they have been prosecuted or convicted, all of that, we haven't seen that. But then what was his initial calculation for such an abrupt decision at the time?
Mr. So you see, politics, some people think politics is a joke. And Yeke, he has to learn how to work with other people. Sometimes your way is not always the way out. You have to sometimes listen to other people and come up with other people's views. Then sometimes you make a move. Or when you think that your way is always in politics, this is what happened to you. So Yeke Koluba thought that when he leave this organization, he was going to pull that crowd with him. And if I didn't know that he doesn't have that money. Money come into politics also.
Oh yeah, you don't get money, don't you forget it, right?
Yeah, for people to be loyal to you and all that kind of thing, it's not just that talk; it's also money. So when he had not studied these things, So somehow he made the hasty decision and I come back to hunt him. That's why you see now in hunting him, so he got to go back to his days. Because in all,
So
he cannot fit within the CDC. He can't fit there. So if even he go there, he will not be accepted by the folks. So
no, but even if he's accepted, he can be trusted. You know, I watch these young folks. These young folks that try, and then you watch some of the in it, and one of the guy, he said, "Yeah, we in the CDC, we initiate people, all right."
Yeah.
And that word itself, when you are being initiated, it is a covenant that you have signed. I'm going to be part of you. I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to stick to you no matter what. That is a covenant, all right. But let's talk about Yeke Koloba a little bit. I don't know. My invitation has been out there because I try to kind of give him a true sense. I'm not one of the person that his utterance the way and this justification is always being made by folks on the other side opposition. Oh yeah, because the way the government behaves, that's why he behaves. Is there any different approach that you think that he can get his tone? Because in the House, right, in the House of Parliament, Mr. George, it's all about consensus building. If you and the rest of the people there will be at loggerhead that you can't come to one understanding on single thing, it's hard. You can succeed, even though you have your supporters. But remember, at the end of the day, it's all about legacy. If you stay there after 10, 15 years, and you cannot have a bill to pass in, or you can sponsor a bill in collaboration with other people to be like a standing bill that we can reference, that we can look at, or history can take a reflection, and just say, well, I advocate for the people and nothing happened. Does that matter?
It matters, but yet what happens, so the way the house is structured now, even if you get to change his tone, they are the people that in leadership will not work with him. They will always sideline him because they fear that he's talked too much. And so anything they want to do with him, they always got the radar over their back. Like, you cannot trust this guy. You can't deal with him. And this is the problem. Because the people that are in leadership of the house, Mr. So, they will not even anything positive. They will not take it from yet. They are trying to.
Do they have reason? Do they have reason to do that, or is the government too being so insensitive or being so sensitive to every little thing here? Are they wasting their time on Yeke to keep this sort of attractions in the eyes of the public?
Let me say that, Mr. So. Let me try to tell our listener probably something. After the election, is that what the position of Yeke? No. People never knew Yeke. Someone never knew Yeke. But the speaker, let me be very personal. The speaker, all these attempts that have been made on Yeke. Have you ever saw the speaker one day to bring that issue to the floor as member of the parliament, even though you disagree with him everything?
Okay, but yeah, and that's a good point there. But Pa George, is the other flip side of the whole thing here. Yeke too has also said most of his friends, or even the very people within the opposition, they do not support his cause. They don't argue. They don't support his initiative when he puts something on the floor. So that was one of the reasons he got out. Now he's back in. I'm wondering what are those sort of conversations, what are some sort of conversations taking place now to say, okay, we're going to support Yeke. I'm not saying whether he walking out, whether he insulting, but when he raising some valid point, why these people don't align with him too as well?
But Mr. So, this is why these people are very driven, because when they support this thing, they figure that what they will get from the speaker will start sidelining it too. This is the problem. So you either remain silent, or if you join Yeke or you join any strong opposition, you will pay a price. And if you are not willing to pay that price, then you better remain quiet.
So who was walking on the sinking? Who was walking on the sinking ground here now? Is that Yeke or who?
Oh, Yeke in that parliament, Yeke is a woman. I mean, because even seriously, even when he sees something that is true, that makes logic, he would not get no support because the speaker is there watching to see who's going to support the idea of Yeke.
Does he need to change his way of talking?
No, even Mr. So, if he changes his way of talking.
No, I'm not. Yeah, that only if that's a condition still being tied. Does he need to do it responsibly, so that people will? Because let's be honest here, and that's why the opposition they don't stand up to their people as well, and this is something that is troubling me because what they are doing too. If they take state power tomorrow, it's going to be the same thing. That's how the people are going to be doing things, and nobody going to talk to them. Because if I want to have a dialogue with you, I must moderate my tone. There must be some sort of courtesy. There must be some sort of respect. I don't think you want me to call you and start from your grandma to your grandpa, and you expect to give me that sort of a conversation, that sort of dialogue that we can come to an understanding. That's why it's happening. But then people are saying, okay, because of what is happening, this is why Yeke is doing this. So it's troubling because it has become a pattern of justifications of wrongdoing instead of telling people, okay, you need to stop this and let's see what happens. But we make a conclusion, we say things, and we want people to listen to us. Hold on 1 second, Pa George. Let me see here. There's a caller here. Let me get caller 610-6494. Ty, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. So. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. This is Jay Dolo calling from the state of Delaware. I just moved from there.
Where you move again from? Where are you going? You move from where? Delaware, or you going to Delaware?
No, I moved from Iowa.
To Delaware?
Yeah.
You going to vote for Joe Biden? I didn't want me our papa to go there because that Donald Trump, man, the way you were twisting it more. I think when they are not social distancing, you get a man to punch Joe Biden. Okay, let's come back to our Liberian politics here. Yeah, so we're seeing the two incidents occur today. The president making an appointment, Representative Koluba returning to Bay. Is that a mere coincidence, or this is just the same political distraction for us?
Well, first of all, for Yeke to come back on Bay, I am a member of the COP. To be frank with you, I don't want to harm my feelings. And I take part in everything that the COP does. You know, when Yeke left, it was frustrating for us. And we told Yeke that he shouldn't leave because he would need a base. And finally, he agreed that he knows that from the incident. And besides that, now as we speak to you, we few hours ago were just in the court when our boys went for Yeke rescue. Do you know that the government only arrested member of the COP after they have vandalized Yeke, whom as I speak to you? I can send a tape to you now, and you will see it to the Justice Ministry. So all the vandalism they did to Yeke, the government don't see that. But put away for Yeke rescue. That's when the government is asking that they should carry Yeke, they should carry guys in to solve it. And we, the COP, we pay for our lawyers, we do everything. But let's come back to Yeke. Yeke is a fine man. Yeke don't have an ugly tone or bad tone. What Yeke is saying today is the same thing you will say that tomorrow. 16 billion enter the country. We don't know the way about the 16 billion. 25 million enter the country. We don't know the way about 25 million.
Yeah, we're listening to you.
Okay. We see the errors of the society. So when Yeke not a stupid person, people will say he's stupid. Yeah, he's stupid because the language other people want for him to speak, he's not speaking the language to join the corruption language. In Liberia, we got 12% 12% of the electricity in the country, those that benefit are 12%. But on the social media, and you hear, you see it, you heard what the chairman of the ruling party said about Georgia attitude. You guys sit there and see it there. You guys all spoken about it. Where's the difference too? When the chairman of the party has come up, where's the difference too? You want both to respect the office of the president, we agree. The president can go in there with those girls, those little girls, and they come up and they put it up. I'm speaking with facts, I can send it. And they are telling themselves how they slept with Georgia, what Georgia did for them. They don't see that one. All right? You're there for the vote and the vandalize of not even for representative ones or human beings, the citizens of the country. We always saw it. What have the government done about it? Do you think, we say things because we want to say it. We say let them go to court. The court seen the action brought, the police then seen it. When they burned tires, when Jack's house was vandalized, what did the court do? Those are all signs of what? Intolerance. Those are all signs of what? Chaos. Because if you put a cat in a room and you provoke that cat, what the cat will do, the cat will bounce back. What is unfolding today in Liberia is not good. We don't pray for the worst. For how long can we go through those things? How long will the Liberia can we remain silent? This person of ours, peace ambassador, everything he attended, what is the peace that he's making? Has he come out to speak about peace, or he wants people to join his party? And where are we going? If you look at majority of the people that were in the opposition, here they are. They're going now to go join CDC today. So do you think we'll have a better representation? Where we are, someone fella, he is dishing money out for people to vote for him. Why Georgia cannot come in a rifle mine, or the CDC cannot come in a rifle mine and say, someone fella, what you doing is bad? Health workers, they're on strike. Our people, then they are dying. Why you can't take that donation and make it to the health worker that tomorrow they can vote for you if you really want to vote? Think about it. A lot of gross activity is going on under this brother watch. But we are all mute. We speak a diplomatic term. Let's do this, let's do this.
What do you want? What do you want a violent tone?
Minister Tour is going. Minister Tour is telling the people, when they say they will bring a pay down, elected leaders don't agree because those elected leaders do not have money to give them. So we must become back in our own home. Is this the right way that we'll move? The press people, you people, Mr. So respectfully, I say to you guys, you have your obligation too. Your obligation is to put the government on the fire, put a foot on the fire. Y'all speak truth to them.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all step behind the microphone. Y'all look at the ears of the opposition. Y'all talking. We agree. But y'all talk about the ears of the government.
Hold on now. And we respect people's view here. So are you saying, I don't want to speak for any other media institution, but I can speak for my network. Are you saying here we bash only the opposition and not the government? Is that what you're saying?
Mr. So, I did not say you bash opposition, neither government. I say y'all need to speak. Y'all speak.
No, when you say speak, to what extent? To what extent? Because first of all, let me just get you right, and I'm going to give you the chance to respond.
Let me look at what I'm looking at. Maybe you and I will not looking at the same thing. That's how life goes. But let me tell you what I am looking at. Like, for example, when Yekamu was vandalized, the enterprise, maybe you made, I don't know, and I want to see a comment.
Okay, now you are adjudicated. Okay, hold on 1 second. Now you are adjudicated me without even knowing, because, and I can tell you, Liberia Public Radio and the African Star newspaper, the print media here in the USA, collaborate. Anytime, if there's anything, if you want right now, I can play that same commentary. We don't just only say it, we put it on record and it goes out there in the public. When the government does it wrong, we say it. When the opposition is say it. We are not in the position to give justification. So
you are one of the few. Thank you, Mr. So. Thank you for your balanced story. For me, I will not advocate for war in Liberia. I will not advocate for anything that is totally out of the reach of law. But the problem here is the law in Republic of Liberia is not neutral. Let me bring you to this attention where I heard the deputy minister of foreign affairs yesterday, he said that the person, because they said they must give a job to him. They asked him one block to go by the court, and when the court, even the court found this man not guilty. So where is the law?
So why you think who's supposed to who's supposed to enforce the law?
Okay, here's African politics. For me, how I look at African politics, and I will tell you, I lived all my life in Ivory Coast. So, and I went to school there in Abidjan at the university level. I was there. They see James Soro today that is in exile in France. I was there when he served as a Secretary General for the University of Liberia. We were honoring his leadership. And we were there at the time of Hofoboye. Let me bring the start of Hofoboye leadership in Africa. Now, is it
hold on? Is it applicable to Liberia?
No. I'm bringing the start. You said who to be blamed?
No, then I said no. Then I said I didn't. My question was who is to enforce the law?
Exactly. Now, who enforces the law? Now, that's the trick question you're asking me. The branches of government are separate. What are you trying to tell me? Good. I agree with you that if the legislature need to come, the executive letter coming and let everybody do their job. That's the question you're asking me. And my answer to you is the executive need to do the job. Because why? He said something different and he practiced something different. And all those people he got, 90% of those people he got, he hired them.
Who on the provisions, before I bring in Pa George here, you will still have the time to talk. On the provisions of our constitution, who holds the executive branch of government accountable?
Now, is the elected leader we have in a house, but are they functioning to that? No. So
you're not answering my question. On our provision, who holds the executive branch of government responsible?
Elected leader we have in a house, in the both house.
Are they doing that?
Are you hearing me?
I'm hearing you. Are they doing that?
It's not my question to answer. I know that the whole government, the whole leadership on Nigeria is just dysfunctional. Those government are just pending on.
No, when we're having this conversation, they are national conversation. Now we must take a holistic approach, because a government, you cannot have one side of government is paralyzed and you expect the entire structure of the government to operate. But that's your view, that's your opinion, and I agree with that. Just hold on 1 second. Maybe you will have something to buttress it. Pa George.
Yeah.
The problem in Liberia here, but you listen to a man, Dolot. He makes his good point. Do you have a contrary view, or do you want to add anything?
Not that I have a contrary view, but I just want to say something. The issue of the question asked about enforcing the law is the executive branch of government, and the legislature is supposed to hold the executive accountable. But here's the thing here. The legislature, the way it's made up, the two powerful people that control the legislature is one is the speaker and the president. And remember I said this thing here. So even when something happens within the executive branch, if the speaker don't give the chair on those committees the right to cite those people, they will not come because they can say they're not coming. And the speaker, when they go to speak, the speaker say, hey, don't come, or the speaker say, hey, man, this is not coming, you will not respond. The same thing with the protest. Let me just give an example yesterday. I heard a collaborate yesterday on this passport issue, saying that he was a little bit taken aback when the chairman on the committee of foreign affairs, which is Honorable Edwin Snow, made a statement, that the Nigerian guy was a drug dealer. And he was saying it's sad for the chairman on foreign relation to hear him say that if someone within the diplomatic realm of Liberia is a drug dealer.
Okay, so then let me just hold you right there. Let me just hold you right there. And this is sort of kind of the holistic approach I'm talking about when we're talking about Liberia. We shouldn't just insert our own personal feelings or something that is not. We'll look at the surface here now, and that's what I'm asking. All of these things, it doesn't happen in essential. You have three branches of government that should function in order for the government to be a stabilized and functioning government. Yeah, you are. Yeah, we're saying here you have a certain lawmaker who is ambassador to creditor to ECOWAS saying that this guy is so drugs dealer. And Kara Gray, on the other hand, saying that he's surprised. Then it comes back to my point in my initial monologue that these people, they are not doing their job. Because whether I'm for the CDC or I'm for the opposition, first and foremost, my responsibility is to the people that elected me and not necessarily to your constituents. You will represent our views, our absence, because all of us can be on Capitol Hill. So the next question, if I have the opportunity to ask, if I get Edwin Snow to asking, well, okay, now you are a lawmaker and you say this guy is a drug dealer. I want to validate your point, your assertion, because you know what happens. You've been in that place there for quite a long time. What did you do to arrest the situation? Or how many persons in the house that you spoke with regarding this? Oh, this guy is our honorary counselor accredited so plus here. How many persons did he have conversation with to address the situation? Or you just talk about it and let it go?
As far as I'm concerned, because I just said I haven't heard anything. But from my understanding, or Honorable Gray was saying, apparently there had not been no conversation and it was just posted. But yes, another thing, Mr. So when somebody in the house or Senate make different statement, you would think if by year you will see other members of different other members from different areas calling for an investigation because that's a national security concern. But
how many times you saw this, whether from the opposition, whether from the government side? How many times you saw those 103 men and women that one day out of those people that will by mistake come together and say, we need to jump on top of this thing here. This is not right for our country. This is not good for the country for us to do something. How many times have we seen that? They don't.
They don't. And that is the saddest thing. So now that is the issue. Look at what is taking place in the country. But it's like everybody just in line for themselves. I say something, and that's it. But to take the country, it's a holistic approach. Nobody is doing it. Nobody is executive doing it. Nobody is legislature doing it. Nobody. The court, I don't know. So and like when you wonder, where are we heading? You know, but I want us to go back to the issue here. What is happening in Liberia, Mr. Soul? This is it come out of the same government. You saw that tape on Sunday night. Government security forces present, and you see that level of armament in the community. And the government, official position, nobody give about official position statement. To say, hey, what happened in that area? It will not be condoned, whether it's or whoever. The government like that will not condone those kind of action, and all those people will be brought to justice. No statement from the central government. Then it comes back to wonder, where are we heading? Today again, there was another attack on the very main key. So the question asked, what is the police? What is the Minister of Justice? Because these are people who are charged with the responsibility to enforce the law. So where are they in the country? And the thing I would say that I don't know how people look at this thing here. When you think happening, the social media is putting all these things.
You see, Pa George. You know the reason, and I say all of those people, I don't trust them. They are the same 6 and 7. There are numerous reasons. You hear it in America here, you know. When we saw what his name, Hillary Clinton, so when the Benghazi thing took place, in as much as she's the Secretary of State, it is on her watch. All foreign missions under her supervision at the time when she was Secretary of State. Why is so happening, right? There was a select committee, and that woman went to answer question for almost, I believe it was almost 12 or 20 some more hours, right? Yeah. The both houses of government, they have the right to summon the Minister of the Minister of Justice, who is the Attorney General. The opposition, and it comes back to my point, because Yeke has also accused them. They are not helping him to do, maybe to push his agenda, even though sometimes he can have a valid point, but the manner in which he expressed himself is so ridiculous too, and nobody get a guts to even call that. Because when you continue to do that, then you also kill your own case. See what is happening. See what is happening now. It was about 400 some more days when Scalia died, when Barack Obama wanted to appoint a judge. What happened? Because the Republican, they had it in their favor. They said no. Yeah, it's everywhere in different contexts. Yeah, they are. You have less than 40 some more days to election. The president here is squeezing something down into the throat of these people. Mitch McConnell is also forcing it on them, and potentially it will go through because they have the numbers. That's what we are seeing in the House of Parliament is different from the ordinary politics in the streets of Monrovia or Liberia, because it's all about consensus building. So the opposition, and I could be wrong, but they are in majority. So then we need to ask, they need to go back to the drawing board. These people, are they there? Do they believe in their party ideology, or are they there for themselves? And if that's not the case, what are they doing? Are they doing enough so that they would take the House, to flip the House, to flip the Senate over? Are they walking that path now, or are they being distracted by other things? Because this one that the electorate going to, and I can tell you, election is a tough one. The ruling establishment, in order to get the president's, I'm just speaking out of a reality. Now, in order to get the president's agenda everywhere, you must be able to have dominion over the both houses of government, because then that way your party agenda will go through. So now the opposition, they're supposed to be doing the NATO's. I'm not saying that the attacks on Yeke is not valid. That's not what I'm saying. But are they doing enough? Are they unified? We're seeing a big divide too, even when it comes to with their collaboration. Are they doing enough so that they will solidify their position, so that they get the upper house in their control, so that if these people are there are now holding the government accountable, they will. Do they have that capacity to do that? Are they moving in that direction?
No, they are not unified. They are not unified, and they are not solidified their position. Because if they would have solidified their position, these people would not be behaving like this. And this is why I told you earlier. Most of the guys I put there for the money that day, the speed of the morning, I will not say anything. If I say anything, I will not get what I'm supposed to get. So me, I will not say anything. And this is not the opposition in the lower house operating. The same thing in the upper house. You see them. Look at this issue. The transport issue. You don't think the first man Committee on Foreign Affairs would have called the former foreign minister to come and answer? But he did. He go write 2 sheets of paper and said that press release. You don't think the first one is signing now? That Benghazi thing. If everything left the left State Department stay, they were calling her back. They called her back to come and explain. Why do you think this transport issue in Nigeria, people are making all enough? Why do you think the Committee on Foreign Affairs? And I started the former Minister of Foreign Affairs, Blessed Anthony, to answer. Why do you think so? Why? That is to tell you the level, the kind of people that we have in this parliament. They are all part of the problem today in Nigeria. You see a level of violence in the country. You don't call the justice minister. You don't call the police director to find out, hey, what's going on? No, don't do it.
You know,
oversight that you have. What is the oversight that you got that the game that you're supposed to see over this? The only time you see this also those people where money business is involved. Committing that money really involved, and so calling the managing director to come to tell those to come explain to why this one did and I'm big done. Because they tell a friend, oh my man, that man, he got something coming, you gotta call that man to come talk to us. This is what happened in Nigeria. And let me say this, and because I am very concerned. I don't want to lie to nobody. What is happening in Nigeria, I'm very concerned. That violence that creeping in Nigeria, I'm very, very concerned. I will not lie to nobody. I'm very concerned. I was listening to one of the local stations today. What they said, they call the Council of Religious Council, I think, call the collaborating political parties, the Election Commission, and CDC. They said that CDC did not show up. So they say Election Commission is expressing concern about the level of violence that is taking place in Nigeria. So they want to call all the parties to tune it down. But according to the station, CDC did not show up. And when the collaboration political parties show up, the regional council, they said they gave the collaboration party 3 minutes to speak. And the regional collaboration political party said no. 3 minutes was not enough to speak on a crucial matter. So therefore, the war of the meeting. So that made that meeting ended, that the whole meeting ended the dialogue.
That okay? You see what happened right there. You see what happened? Right?
A collaboration political party came. Then they said the regional council said the most speak for 3 minutes. So they said the collaboration political party said no. This is a serious issue. 3 minutes is not enough for all to speak.
It tells you what that tells you is the same thing that we're just talking about, lack of structure. Because when you're having this sort of consequential meeting, so you send out citation, there must be a technical team drawn out. You must send the details of that meeting. Review A, your review A, all of the parties accredited to that sort of conversation to review A, make their input and say before they can even sit at the table. But more or less, from what I'm gathering, it's like an ultimatum. First of all, you have to make sure you want to make peace. You have to do everything possibly you can to have all the parties that are involved to be present. But you just send it and you assume people will agree with your point and say, okay, I just sent it, they should come. So they should have done their background to make sure to convince these parties, get them to the table, make them to understand the reason they are calling them, what is at stake. It is not all about them. It's about the sovereign country. It's about the country. It's about the citizen, the survivor, because it's like life and death. We know the tensions and the consequences of election, So it means they didn't even do their due diligence. They didn't unveil the package. They didn't tell the people. They didn't allow them to make an input into the conversation so as to get it effective and control. Because at the end of it, they are stakeholders. You can't leave them out.
This is it. You calling for a meeting, you gotta wait for time for everybody to express a view because you want to resolve this issue. And how do you resolve it? People must speak up, they must think of what they think is going on wrong. Listen to all sides.
I don't know.
The ruling party did not come. The other party, I think, said again, let's speak for 3 minutes. Hey, then why are we heading?
You're talking about election and you want people to speak for what, 2-3 minutes? Yeah. We're not going, even in the family house, you're talking about family problem, you can't even talk for 2 minutes. I'm not talking about these people, they're thinking about the bonuses, they're thinking about what they're going to get in the next 9 years, and you're telling them you should talk for 1 minute, 2 minutes. So here is the question here here is the question. And I'm hoping that I have some of these, people to take a definitive position on it. Now, and I know, and the reason I hold these lawmakers responsible because the issue of this voter roll was the mandate of the Supreme Court of the Republic of Liberia. And there's a committee oversight. All right. You heard Senator Alfonso Gay here the other day we brought him. Out of the 24 million budget to conduct free elections are costly. Elections are not just over 19. The elections are costly. They drop it to 17. 17 came to 13. And 7 million were made available. So all these years since 2017, from the whole election drama here, why are these people in the house? Why are they been sitting? Why did they not do enough to solicit funds to make sure? Because, and that's what we say here. We call, and I still believe in that today. In order to conduct free, fair elections, we must have trained personnel, very trained personnel. We need international existing rules. You saw Sanicola rule and all of that. Ganta Sanicola rule. And they say they're having this sort of mobile thing here. It's not applicable. It's not logical. It's not practical. But yet these people sat down. So yeah is the question. The people are here and saying, okay, they're more clean there, but I'm wondering, what are they going to go to the election? In the absence of having this clean comprehensively, I talked to our guy from Maryland, the drama is ongoing. Now, if they decide to go into the election, and the result, at the end of the day, there must be some kind of result, whether it's right or not. Will they accept the result? That's the $1 million question. If you know very well the process, you do not trust the process is flawed, and you do not believe in the process because certain things were saying done, yet you decide to partake into the process. Will you come back tomorrow and say you're not accepting the result?
No. And Mr. Soul, let me tell you one thing. Speak out, and many times for something.
Says 1 2, hold on 1 second.
Mr. Soul, let me say this. And then don't let me say this again. The election, you see people playing with saying Nigeria. That's a time bomb. In that election, the way things are proceeding, if they go ahead,
Okay.
the result come out. And people on both sides, there will be tension in that environment will go on from now on.
All right.
Election.
Okay.
More violent than anything. So those, what I would suggest, those stakeholders, let it do as much as they can do to bring all the parties in, and see how best they can resolve that photo rule thing. Because that was the mandate of the Supreme Court, and it had not been done, and the opposition went to court the other day, and we're not seeing any movement.
Okay.
A recipe for disaster.
All right, Pa George, thank you so much. Before I wrap up here, let me go to this number here, 612 number. 612, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, Ty, good evening. Terry?
Yes, Terry.
Okay, Terry, what's up, my man?
I'm about Mr. So how you doing?
Good. I don't know when we're going to stop this sort of talking studio here.
Well, that is what we continue to do until we get better. So, all we have. So we can't stop talking. But my thing is that what you guys have been saying concerning the elections, I think that if the government don't take serious stand on that, that would be a serious problem. But like what you're saying, the House of Representatives and the House of Senate is close with the responsibility to make sure that that goes into full effect. In the absence of them taking the action that they're supposed to take for the necessary good of the people, when the problems erupt, it will be because they did not handle it with care, So that is one of the major problems that Nigeria is faced with now. And also the aspect of Yeka Kolba that I saw him speaking, I want to believe that Yeka Kolba is at risk. And people shouldn't think that the government in power is something really happens, anybody can protect him. I don't think that even the COP or the CPP can protect the Colombia because right now the two groups are weak. They don't have the force to fight back. And many people think that they do, but they don't. So I think that Yaga Colombia needs to lay low some way, somehow, or else his life will be at stake. That's my own take on it because the CPP, they don't have the force. CPP are not people who put pressure on the government. This government needs pressure. The CPP, they don't have it. Opposition don't have it. Opposition are more diplomatic. They talk in a very soft tone. This particular government in power do not need that kind of people. They need rough people. The COP do not have those kind of people either, even though they pretend like they do, but they don't. So I really don't know what Nigeria is heading right now, and I think that it's very, very scary for our country. That is what I really want.
So let me ask this question here because I'm trying to figure an answer because I have not ever had a chance for Moses Carter or even the Yeka Kolubat. I know he sometimes comes and just throw anything out there. And then when you ask him, he say, like, take me to court. Like in the instance of one time, long time, he made a statement on Fadiga's show that Nathaniel McGee took 300,000 to him because they wanted to hear his side. And he said, do you have proof? He said, take me to court, then I will give it. It doesn't make sense. If I know I have a valid case, yeah, I'm not. I don't buy into sort of conspiracy theory. You know, I know things that are happening is wrong, but let me ask this question here. So we always been saying, and that's the questions I really want to get answer this question to the authority. Do you hold the belief that the government of Liberia want to kill Yeke Koluba because that's one of the things they want to take a life? Do they want to kill him?
For me, Mr. So, it is not to me, but I want to believe that Yeke Koluba put his life at risk when he stood up and said that the president partook in a war. I think one of the reasons why Yeke Koluba is being hunted or has been hunted is because he claimed that he has some level of proof
that evidence.
The president partook in a war.
And he had to present that evidence.
Yeah, he had to prove that. And once Yeke Koluba continued to say that, for true that may have happened, even though there is no proof, and if he is the only witness to that, his life will continue to be threatened until the president either leaves or until he dies. That is what I feel.
Because that itself is an indictment, because when you say that, and people, Liberians, most of people are calling for war crime code, and it is only the president that can endorse that, even though people do not know there are extra components that we can constitute that they don't know it. We know little information on the surface and we render a conclusion. You know, it's almost like we saw that with April 6, Roosevelt Johnson and that of Charles Tillot, and it was clearly evident that Charles Tillot, because of he was questioned to arrest Roosevelt Johnson, and we saw that by the movement of the people. So, do you think if the government, I had to dwell on circumstantial conversation, but do you think if the government actually wants to arrest Yeke Koluba, which of course they can do because of his position, but he can be charged for whatever crime that could get him to go to court, and potentially another much deeper thing can happen. Do you think that if they want to incriminate him with something, can they do that?
Yes, they can. This is the government you play with. This is the African leadership. They have done it to many people in time past, Mr. So. And you and I know that. Even during the Chancellor regime, the President Doe regime, Ellen's regime, all these things have been happening. They are familiar happenings in the African leadership. So Yeke Koluba is acting like a giant when he is a little boy to this government. I think, because, take for example, look at what they did to Yeke Koluba's family. After his family left, they suppressed him from traveling to take treatment and all of that. Then guns were planted in his vehicle and all of that. The only thing I'm blessing Yeke Koluba, journalists always cover him up,
right,
one way or the other. So, and I think in my mind, these few days, Yeke Koluba had a compromise with the CDC. And this is where many people are not focusing. The reason I say that is because Yeke Koluba came up publicly, denounced or suspended his membership of the CPP, and said to the press conference that he is going to make a declaration come January.
I don't believe it. Yeah, we are here now. This is why they just, it's so ridiculous. All of these people, they are insane. They're just not honest to the Liberian people. And this is captured so much the imaginations of their supporters and the sympathize with it. These are the people that are building unnecessary tension in the country.
Seriously, Mr. So, I think Yeke Koluba is one of his own problems, because he runs a lot of mouth and he don't have the backing, all right? And he keeps dangling from one end to another. Why do you think they will go to CDC right after Yeke Koluba did that? He went to in a house, he condemned Buffer Chima, he came up and abused the president, and he declared that he's going to form a new political party, blah, blah, blah. For 1 week or two afterwards, his property had been vandalized, stating that it was done by seditions. You know, then he stated on an interview that the people want him to join CDC. So I think that there might have been a compromise between he and the CDC, one way or the other, to swap, and later on he turned over the coin. So based upon that, they decided to vandalize the property because there was some negotiation that I believe went on the table, even though I don't approve. But from his new statement, he said the people want him to join CDC. All right, and we have been seeing the inconsistency in these few days. So, now for him to go back and say he's declaring the membership again, it shows some level of.
What does that tell you? What does that tell you of our political institution, be it governments or the opposition? Are they structured? Do they have discipline?
No.
Anybody can walk in anytime and come in?
You said it, Mr. So there is no structure. What kind of man will just jump out and say he's going back and they just take him back? There is no structure, no principle, nothing laid down to penalize you.
The only thing, Terry, honestly, my own view, the only thing I see, the both government, the opposition, they are so much in desperation for state power so they can settle down with anything. All of these people, they are not registered member of any of their parties. They do not pay membership due. You see here, like here, people here, you registered, you establish the identity of your party. You pay due, you support. But in Liberia, it is done on the other side of the coin. Instead of people to even support the candidate, I know things are hard, but it's the candidate that support these people because they are the one that are looking for state power. And before we go here, is the opposition doing enough? Now we are this race is a very consequential one. If the government is to be held accountable, why you think in the Western world here, they want to get Democrat now is fighting to flip 2-3 seats so that we get majority of the upper house. They have the lower house now, because once you get that, then of course you tie the hands of the president, because anything that the executive does, it has to go through legislation. They can't just either. There are very few things that you can veto. Are they doing enough at this time to change the narrative, the politics on Capitol Hill?
Mr. So the opposition is very weak. I'm sorry to say, but they are weaker than a plastic bag. This is the time that the opposition is supposed to rise up and be vigorous on the government. They should be putting the government feet to the fire from all walks of life, especially looking at the type of electoral process that is going on now in the country, with one person having 3 voter registration cards and all of that. The opposition is diplomatic. Liberia right now do not need.
Yeah, because they don't have no sense of direction. There's no leadership. Everybody there, everybody feels, every dick and Tom feels they have authority. They have their own supporters. They have people that sympathize with them. They have people that take instruction from them. You don't run an organized organization that you must have an executive to speak. But anybody come today, they speak. I'm speaking as social person. Endless press conferences in Liberia. Endless press conferences from morning to day, the 7 days in the week, without any strategic plan to deliver, to even tell their supporters where they want to be. But we buy into this sort of narrative. And this is what we have to live with for the rest of our life. You have ANC now. I want to tell what Arizona Kume going to address himself. Because when Yeka Koluba were asked as to why he's leaving, he doesn't need to tell anybody. He can himself there anytime and anywhere. That's a clear indication. Now, if we can't contain these people, that was the same behavior we are talking. That was the same behavior of the CDC. Moluba Molu came out that Helen Johnson salute. By this time, they're going to will be behind, roasted by with a handcuff and all of that. But yeah, we are today. Politicians always in the statements of political correctness. And that's why we need to hold them, because we heard all of these things before and there has not been any change. And so when they're coming back with this sort of narrative, with this soundbite, we have to tell them, we have to speak to them. Tara, thank you so much. Time caught up with me. The people, they're not trained. They're not trained. They do not have control. And that's what happened. If you are not financing a party, if you don't have authority over the party, that's what happened. Because if you're pumping money into the party to build a structure, you have auxiliaries in all of the counties, you have offices, and people are working, you're paying people. They were not as stupid. They were not as stupid. All these people that are volunteering all around here, they don't get campaign staffers. People are paid. But you don't pay the people are hungry. Wherever the money is, that's where they're going to go. People get 4 or 5 children in a place there they want to eat. You think they're going to wait until you say in the future? I'm not saying it's right, but these are the social issues that we have to address, and the politicians are not taking that into consideration. They're just all about getting up there. They are not fixing things that needs to be fixed, that we might have a functioning government. So it doesn't matter. In as much we have a bad government with bad policy right now, and the opposition is unable to prove herself to do it differently, they are also sinking and tolling the bad wagons of the ruling party. They might have problem. And that's why their coalition is also falling apart. You have Tai Wongwe, who didn't make it to the ANC primary in Nima. He's now going independent. Where is the collaboration? And then they give a justification. Oh, yeah, these things got to happen. Or if you know that this party is not doing the right thing, so then what were the technical details that you went into before even coming to the collaboration? John Baloo, also from the Unity Party in Maryland. My understanding I will be having here again. My understanding now he's going as an independent because somebody was single-handedly picked from the ANC side to be a candidate. Now you have disproportionate democracy. You did not give people the chance to speak their voice or to get their voices out. So the possibility of Nima that should be crucial in the presidential, the possibility of the ruling establishment is getting there because Tai Wongwe on a block or a few handful of ANC people they're going to be calling the assembly do not vote either Gonglo Ware and fitting to forgetting to know either have served as an administrator of that county for years. You know, and they are unable to come together. So the vote they're going to be split. And you expect it to be, you expect to get good result? They need to put their acts together. They need to put their acts together. As a head of the group, if you form collaboration, you need to take charge. That's what leader does. Leaders make some consequential and controversial decisions to sustain the institution. When Mr. Cummings and folks that are around Cummings cannot tell him to take some strong decisions against some of his people, then it's just pointless. If they are talking studio folks that are preaching if they can't even direct, or if they can't even preach the core agenda or the message of their candidate, and you devote the rest of your 2 hours, 3 hours on Tomofala, what Tomofala can do, instead of telling people what your candidate Darius Dillon can do, which of course you have enough talking point to talk about, but when you take all of your 2 hours and dedicate it to Darius Dillon, then you're just doing Tomofala a favor. I'm already sick, and I'm looking for a doctor to heal me. Then you can bring a masonry who's supposed to pour zinc on top of the house to come treat me. You're not doing me good. So it's a very serious problem. We have entertainers, we have commentators, and we have the real people who talk to the issue. But unfortunately, we are in a country so much that things that they want to hear, if you don't talk it, then you've been put a limit. But who cares? We have to stick to these people until the oppositions can conduct herself and have a defined role as to why they even want to do what they are doing, why they can be alternative. They must be persuasive. They must have a fine tune. They must be able to bring in other people. They need to allay fear from other people that they are willing to embrace them. But when you are talking and your tune is not refined, it's not laid down, you drive people away. And when you drive people away, there are others there that are willing to embrace them. They had a youth that had issue. Why they couldn't resolve that issue? You know, election coming. Every bad child, every bad group of people get their own follower. I don't care what happens. Whether that 1%, 2%, something is being extracted from you. Those children, this group, they had a grievance. Why so much that you never sat with those children to have that conversation, and you allow them to walk away? And CDC is also obviously it's election time. Even if they do not want them, honestly wish, of course, that they're going to be outcasts in time to come, but they have to be incorporated right now because their vote matters. But you never had that fight. Said anybody want to go? You can want leave, let you can leave. We tired. He went. He stayed. Now you're tired. He went. He not come back again like a prodigal son. Are these people we should take serious? I don't believe in them. I don't trust them. They are all sycophants. It's all about themselves because they want to gain state power. So I don't believe in them. And it is very, very sad for our country. If people cannot exhibit a high sense of responsibility, leadership, then it's a problem. John Mokafoli did that. He had to let certain friends go. We're frowning on George. We are with Nathaniel McGee, the Jefferson Koji, and all of that. You also have another version of Jefferson Koji and Nathaniel McGee too, that you still can't, you are unable to stand in their faces and tell them what they are doing is not right. So when you get state power tomorrow, when you send them to ERBC, you send them to NPA, you will tell them the same thing. You can tell them. You are unable to tell them now, to look in their faces. Yes, I support you. I like what you're doing. You are up for a right cause, but you need to tune it down. This is the direction that we need to go. You are unable to tell them. That's how George, we are racist. Alligator, Nathaniel McGee, and Jefferson Koji, as we all been saying all along, they were doing it. He did not say anything. You have folks that within your system and that are embedded within you, they are doing some bad things. You are unable to tell them because you are afraid to lose vote, or you don't want to be hurt. But when you say it to certain people, that means you will be demonized. You can't contain them. So do you want to tell me that when you get state power tomorrow, you will contain these people? Because they're going to be the same people that make you to be who you are. Will you manage them? You can't manage them. You can't manage them now. They are babies. They get 32 tomorrow, then you're going to manage them? Is that something you want me to believe? I don't believe that. Until the opposition can conduct herself with high sense of responsibility and do it differently. If CDC get malicious, you don't have to get the malicious. You can have a support group base. And that could be an arguable point that you can make to the voters, to tell the voters, even if they do not understand, you have to exercise tolerance to tell them where you came from as a nation. This is why you don't want to have a youth lead. Yeah, CDC had a youth lead, and Jefferson Koji was active. He went to jail. He did this. He did that. See where he is today. He was on a transition thing. He's now the city mayor. So everybody want to have a youth lead because at the end of the day, when they get state power, maybe they will send her as managing director of the Freeport of Monrovia, gateway to the country economy. Hey, my dear brother Lofa. He's the only person that he's the only person, Julius. In as much he get a strong voice from the oppositions. I don't know his political identity, but he speaks out when the opposition does it right. He speaks out when it does it wrong. But most of the other people, they don't have the guts to tell their people. How can you affect a change? So everybody saw where Jefferson Koji came from to be who he is now. Right now, I want to have Johnson kind of party and be you lead and gather people together and pour green barrel on their head, and we start yelling all over and profess that we supporting this candidate because at the end of the day, there will be a huge political reward. CDC did it. It worked. It doesn't mean you can do it. You can change the narrative. You can have those people, but you can give a sense of direction. When they're ready to speak on national issue, they speak as if they're speaking for the party. They're speaking as if they are authority. Every day and time, wake up, they want to have a press conference. They can't even answer the question. Talk nonsense all day. And you political leaders, you validate these people's behavior. Then can you manage a country? You can. I'm not saying no evidence of that. What time has caught up with me here? It's 2:45. I saw my guest calling, but obviously the time is up. But hopefully we can give them the opportunity next time. Well, folks, stop the rape. So said Louis Toba. Louis said it.
In Sini, I'm away, yo. Papa, oh, bread, oh, uncle, ravens on crown. So when you red, you a god of Joe. When you red, you a god of Joe. When you red, girl, you might give her ace. When you red, girl, you might be a fete.
Oh, our man there. You please stop this thing you're doing to our sisters, our aunts, our mothers. You please stop that. They're making song for you. You need to stop that.
Red is a crown, then a face. Red is a crown, female lawyer says. Red is a crown, so sorry.
Folks, that's how we're going to be living here for the rest of the day. I want to thank you so much. Hopefully, we don't usually buy into people's talking points. We don't usually play into your minds in terms of what you want to hear from us. We tell you what we feel that you need to know. And so we speak out of our convictions, of our passions, of what we feel, our unhappiness about our country. That's what we speak to, and that's what we will continue to be doing. I hope Yaka Kolobad, there will be a change. As a matter of fact, I see him to be, I don't agree with him. He do a lot of crazy stuff. His way of channeling has his grievances. I don't support that. It's reckless. It doesn't give the international community the credence to even do business with people when you're talking that first and foremost. They're not going to say that. But I see him to be the brave opposition in our country that can stand up and speak, even though it's done in a reckless context. But I see him to be the only brave opposition that he's willing to even go to jail. They're not Ellis Comey, not what his name, Benena Ure and all of those people. They don't. And the thing to gain liberation alone is not only a fight to be an opposition to entire world countries. It's a little hell on earth. You must be willing to put your hands behind you for them to cuff you, and then the international cable will pick it up. But it all acting like psychedelic. And I saw that from the June 7. Yakat Kaluba stood the test of time. And when he was complaining that you people wasn't taking care of him, you were all over the place. Let a man go. Let a man go. He coming by. Why you can't tell him to go? He is the only brave opposition that I see, even though he's not doing it the right way. And that's why he do. That's why he's doing. And that's why they don't have the guts. If they say it, they will end up swallowing the bitter pills. And that's why they are welcoming him home as a prodigal son. But our opposition, they just good at sitting down before maybe LPR across Africa or Spoon or 4TV and talk. They are not willing to pay the price and the consequences that come from with changes in democracy, to go even sleep behind iron bar and let VOA, let BBC, let Al Jazeera pick it up that so opposition were arrested because they stood the test of time. I want to be wearing kosu and all that kind of thing, and you think that you want to be opposition? African country is all over. See Donald Trump here, he's talking, the man talking yesterday, he not even trust the process, he not sure whether there will be a peaceful transition. So what do you think about Liberia? I'm just only telling you the reality, the facts that is involved. That is not easy as you thought it to be. The very group that now are opposition, when we get them power tomorrow, they will do the same thing. CDC were there yesterday. They didn't allow us to ask them questions. This is what's happening. So what makes them think that they can do the same thing? So to be an opposition in Africa is crazy. You saw the former vice president, when he was returning home, Alassane Ouattara said he's not coming home. The plane was to land in Abidjan. They said the plane wasn't landing. What happened? It ended up being diverted to Ghana. It's all just about condemnation. But I'm saying it comes with bravery. It comes with sacrifice. It's not just only talking, and there's no tangible action to be effected to hold the government accountable. So it just speaks to volume that we doing the talking here to get headache and finish and go take ibuprofen, and who knows, after everything, they go hang up with those same very people. Politicians, that who they are. Election coming again. I wouldn't be surprised to get it people. If the opposition can embrace people like Sandor Johnson, who works in the very same government. They say they can eat government money and nothing can come out. It can be an opposition. Do you want me to take you for serious? Do you think I can believe that you can affect a change? Why should you incorporate people that you know that are tainted with bad characters? So you just give more ammunition. You just give political will to these people. Just today we clashed on T-Max show, not because of that, but to show how intolerant they are as a politician. You as a senator, we are talking about a very serious issue, this passport saga, and you happen to be one of the powerful voices. And so money you're calling on the radio, and this one do this, they want to do this. It's far more than George Weah or passport. What you should be doing now as a senator, you're supposed to be making phone calls. Hey, Akara's great. Hey, Tomofala, we are all different on political ideology. I know election is coming, but this one, it poses security threat to our country. Let's put aside what CDC, CPP, this and that. We need to sit down and talk and get to the bottom line of this thing. But you sit down on T-Max show, and then you call in, and my reporter, you say, I told him, I said, you, Senator Johnson, you need to find a place to sleep because you are as corrupt as those people at the Ministry of to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So what you want to talk, I'm not going to listen to you because you are part of the problem. You reside over Charles Taylor Wolf, the man who's brought all of these damages year to this year. You have not given accountability. And then you say to the opposition, do what you do. I can validate your voice. You know exceptions. You will be accused recently of trucking people as well. All of you are part of the problem of this whole election thing. Have you come out to exonerate yourself? And you want me to take you for serious, to take you as a serious person, as a lawmaker? You can make no law because you have violated the laws. You should be calling your colleagues and let the Liberian people speak and listen to signal. And then you can dwell on the cry of the Liberian people, and that can be affected into policy, into a piece of legislation. But you and children, ordinary civilians, ordinary people that are so hurt, they are crying, that you want to add a voice to it when you are already hurt them themselves. So what you want to tell me? You can't tell me anything. That's nonsense. You need to get some of these people out of the place. Well, Magdalene, I'm sorry. The program is already over now. It's just something we can do it another time. All right, folks, I want to thank you so much for us. We're going to leave it here. We guess we have to rearrange it. From 1 o'clock is 3 o'clock now. I can have program over program. Very, very much consistent. Until then, folks, have a pleasant day, and we're going to have another conversation.